The title of today's story is East of the Sun and West of the Moon. So let's start the story. Once upon a time, in a small village nestled between the rolling hills and deep forests, there lived a poor farmer with his wife and their 3 daughters. Life was hard and the family struggled to make ends meet. Despite their poverty, the daughters were all beautiful and kind-hearted. And the youngest, named Elara, was the fairest and gentlest of them all. One cold winter evening, as the family sat around the fire in their humble cottage, there was a loud knock on the door. The farmer opened it to find a great white bear standing on the doorstep. The bear spoke in a deep, gentle voice. "Good evening. Do not be afraid. I mean you no harm. I have heard of your troubles, and I have come to offer you a bargain. If you will give me your youngest daughter, Elara, to be my companion, I will make you rich beyond your wildest dreams." The farmer was shocked and frightened, but the idea of wealth tempted him. He turned to his wife, who was equally unsure, but then they both looked at Elara. Despite her fear, Elara knew her family needed help, and, with a brave heart, she agreed to go with the bear. The next morning, the bear returned and carried Elara away on his back. He took her to a grand castle hidden deep in the forest, where everything was made of gold and precious stone. Elara was treated like a queen, with beautiful clothes, delicious food, and every comfort she could imagine. The bear was kind to her, and though she missed her family, she began to feel at home in the castle. However, every night when Elara went to bed, she felt the presence of someone in the darkness of her room, a figure she could not see but knew was there. He never spoke, but she thought it was a bear who came to her room at night. Time passed, and Elara became increasingly curious about the mysterious figure in her room. One night he secretly lit a small candle to see who was in his room. To her surprise, she found not a bear, but a handsome prince. Startled by the light, the prince woke up and looked at her with sad eyes. "Oh, Elara," he said, "why did you do this? I was under an enchantment, cursed to be a bear by day and a man by night. If you had waited just 1 year without trying to see me, the curse would have been broken. But now, because you lit the candle, I must leave you and return to my wicked stepmother's palace, east of the sun and west of the moon." Before Elara could reply, the prince vanished, leaving her alone in the castle. Heartbroken, she knew she had to find him and set things right. She set out on a journey, determined to reach the palace east of the sun and west of the moon, no matter how far or difficult it might be. Elara wandered for days and weeks, asking everyone she met if they knew the way. But no one had ever heard of such a place. Finally, she came to a small cottage where an old woman lived. The old woman welcomed her, and after hearing Elara's story, told her, "I do not know the way to the palace, but I can give you something that may help you. Take this golden apple. It is a magical gift that may open doors for you." Grateful, Elara continued her journey. She next came to another cottage where another old woman lived. This woman gave her a golden comb, telling her it too was a magical gift. Finally, she met a third old woman who gave her a golden spinning wheel, saying, "This will be of great use to you." Armed with these magical gifts, Elara traveled further until she reached the edge of the world where the North Wind lived. The North Wind was fierce and powerful, but when he heard Elara's story, he took pity on her. "I have never been to the palace east of the sun and west of the moon," he said, "but I can take you as close as I can." The North Wind carried Elara on his back, flying over mountains and oceans, through storms and snow, until they reached a great mountain of glass. "This is as far as I can take you," the North Wind said. "The palace lies just beyond, but you must climb this mountain on your own." The mountain was steep and slippery, but Elara was determined. She began to climb, and as she did, she met a great eagle who offered to help her. "Give me the golden apple," the eagle said, "and I will carry you to the top." Elara did so, and the eagle lifted her up to the summit. At the top of the mountain stood the palace, a dark and foreboding place. Elara approached the gate and was met by a servant of the wicked stepmother. "What do you want here?" the servant asked. "I have come to find the prince who was taken from me," Elara replied. The servant laughed cruelly. "You may see him, but only if you trade me that golden comb." Elara hesitated, but knowing she had no other choice, she handed over the comb. She was led inside the palace where she found the prince, but he was under a deep sleep and could not be woken. Desperate, Elara used her last gift, the golden spinning wheel, to buy one more chance to see the prince. This time she was allowed to stay by his side for the night. As she wept beside him, her tears fell on his face, and the warmth of her love broke the wicked stepmother's spell. The prince awoke, and upon seeing Elara, he knew she had saved him. Together they confronted the wicked stepmother, whose power was broken by their love. The palace began to crumble, and the mountain of glass melted away. The prince and Elara escaped just in time, flying back to the castle that had once been their home. The prince, now free from the curse, asked Elara to marry him, and she joyfully agreed. They returned to the farmer's cottage, where the family was overjoyed to see their beloved daughter again. The prince and Elara were married in a grand celebration, and they ruled the kingdom with wisdom and kindness for the rest of their days.